Alright guys, we are back for another Dokkan battle video, so there's something we do still have to talk about in detail, in depth. And that, of course, is all of our silly billies that are going to be EZAing throughout the 10th anniversary. Now, some of these are kind of, confirmed is not the word. I mean, we do have 2 confirmed EZAs, because they're already in the data. Super EZA, AGL Super Vegito, and Super EZA int Buhan. Gohan absorbed Majin Buu. Looking at this, it seems pretty crystal clear. We could pretty much lock in 6 EZAs just from looking at this. It's just obvious when, looking at it, right? So every year, they do EZA kind of like the part 1, Dokkan Fest LRs from kind of like 3 years back. This is kind of a pattern that Dokkan, I guess, has been doing since the 8th anniversary. Where, it's like part 3 has, kind of like the LR EZAs from 3 years back. So, one of the GT slots, LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and then one of the Dragon Ball Super slots is going to be the LR Gods, right? There's 2 spots for Saiyan Saga. Seems pretty crystal clear to me that that's going to be Kaioken Goku and Ape Vegeta. 2 Planet Namek slots, presumably LR Namek Super Saiyan Goku and LR Full Power Frieza. We know 2 of these slots are those Super EZAs. And I do expect 2 of these movie slots to likely be 2 more Super EZAs. I think so. Probably STR Super Gogeta and Janemba. And then from there, there's still more EZAs to come. But, that's going to kind of cover what is, again, not confirmed, besides these 2. Or even kind of soft confirmed, but yet still fairly obvious, right? So I kind of want to leave discussion about these 2 to a minimum. I mean, we know they're there. I think that they're super good? Yes. In particular, Buhan, who seems nuts. This guy just... It's just... Counters and this type of character is just not as good as it once was. It's just this type of character does not really rock that well the way they used to back in the day. This guy was so dominant. They've treated this guy as EZA and Super EZA. You know which character has had a similar fate to this guy? Is LR Kalen Khalifa. I think this guy and LR Kalen Khalifa similarly are characters that Dokkan just had no interest in giving them, a second life. And they just held back tremendously. So this is 2 EZAs for this guy that, to me, seem to be held back tremendously with him. It's like, he could do some decent damage with his counters, depending upon the juicing setup that we're going to see, right? I mean, if we use Daima Goku, that could really help him damage-wise. I think he should be able to hang well against a lot of normals, but the thing about him is he could be very impactful if he does a lot of counters and is put in front of a lot of attacks. But if he's put in front of a lot of attacks, he's more likely to get supered. I mean, we could pair him with a Scouter. I mean, we do have Tech Gogeta Scouter, which is very good. Already the 10th anniversary meta is shaping up where the Scouter, to me, seems like it's going to be much more effective than it has been for the last 6 months. Remember, at Dokkan moves fast and things change. 2 weeks ago, I might have been saying, yeah, Scouter's not that crazy. In 2 weeks, Scouter is fucking Pog, right? That's probably what's going to happen. So, we'll kind of see how things are going to go once the actual, part 1 LRs drop, including the tag Vegito, and we'll see how things are going to look. All right, so let me move on to these guys. Actually, I think that these 2 are probably going to come. I'm going to talk about them first, because I think these 2 will very potentially be teased, or I guess straight up shown in the live stream. I think so. So, Kaioken Goku, right now, I mean, he's built like a character who's going to be able to turbocharge damage, right? Characters who could be very good damage-wise. He's orb changing, so he's creating orbs for himself and potentially for others. He's got that crit built in. He's got a ton of ki as well. I could see this guy becoming just like a damage dream, damn near. Just shooting it out, shooting it out, shooting it out. Now, one thing I'll be very interested to see, it's not the biggest deal, 4% HP. I don't imagine that there's very often where it's like, oh, damn, we lost because of that damn minus 4%. I wonder if they might just take that out. We are in an era, characters don't need something like this. This just shouldn't even be here. It's not the biggest deal, but I would like to see this just, completely eliminated. Maybe we could do some interesting stuff, like we pair this with a character that needs to, be under 77% HP or something like that, and that could be good, but I do wonder if they'll remove that damn. I mean, he's already at 100% right there. This is third, so this will assuredly bump up to 50%. Remember, he does have his active skill. Considering he has an active skill attack like this, I would not be shocked if they left this the same, and then they might just give him the typical effect we see on characters these days. At 24 key, he gets guaranteed crits. I feel like that is something that we could actually see him get, which could be, because that effect works really well with active skill attacks. Since when an LR character does one of these active skills, he's treated for the rest of the turn, as though he's at 24 key. He gets like the full passive active, so like this stuff would be up and all that different type of stuff. So yeah, we'll see. He's definitely gonna need some type of defensive mechanic. Not every character needs to be a slot 1 demigod, right, or something like that. I think if he could just have, maybe like guard, and then maybe after he supers, he can get a little bit of damage reduction or something like that, maybe could be fine. Now, I mean, we're also in an era where typically at even like just like guard, damage reduction, or dodge is usually not enough. You kind of need 2 of the 3. This is how, or if you're Tekio Goku, you can have all 3 and still die nonstop, right? All right, so we have him. Now, Vegeta's going to be interesting because his design is terrible. He has horrible design where he gets, like, dude, during the 7th anniversary, this one was an issue, where he gets a lot of defense when he attacks. What are his super attack effects? Oh, wow, that's going to be a huge addition to him. Look how shitty. He doesn't even have an 18-key super attack effect. That's so nuts. And then all he's getting is 30% attack on his 12-key. So, he could easily, I don't know, maybe get 100% on here like Kaioken Goku and then just 50% attack and defense or something like that easily. But at this guy, they got to help him out. Because right now, they want you to do this. They want you to put him in slot 1 to get this big extra attack buff. But so much of his defense, look at this. They gotta rectify this. Something like, give him 50% damage reduction before he attacks or something like that. I don't know. Like, you gotta help him out. And then, after he attacks, he loses that, but then he would still be able to get huge dividends from this. And then, of course, I assume he would get his super attack effect. Remember, this guy does have a Team Protector mechanic, by the way. And it does last 1 or 2 turns. Oh, ooh, really? 50% chance you get a second turn out of that. Okay. And Dokkan is wised up. We've seen a couple of bosses that have anti-giant mechanics, by the way. Let me just give you guys a quick example. We saw this in the God event, and then also Frieza. I just kind of overlooked it at first, but that's what it is. It's the anti-giant mechanic right here. And then where's the God event at? I always have trouble spotting the God event. Although one thing that's good with the sorting they did is that it's much easier. There it is right there. Who is it? I think it's in stage 2? No, because it's the blue one, right? Is it Jin? Nah, it's him right there. It's Liquor. So what they do is, okay, he does 11 attacks per turn. But he could super twice. And his cooldown is, like, it makes no sense. It's an anti-giant mechanic. So you would go into the giant form, he pops his super, but then he has a cooldown of 26. You're going to burn through all of that in the giant form. Then you're going to leave the giant form, and he's going to be queued up to super attack again. That's exactly what that is. And Frieza has it right here as well, where Frieza could double super, but he only attacks 9 times per turn with a 9 cooldown. This is like an anti... Now, this doesn't really work against, like, Orange Piccolo. But against Tech Beerus or LR Janemba, that would kind of be a counter. So we are seeing that they are implementing that here and there, so keep that in mind. But Vegeta needs a lot of help, because he was a poorly designed character even back when he came out, in February of 2022. Then we have these guys. Now, right now I'm going to assume that these guys are coming, right? The first anniversary characters getting their Super EZA would make a ton of sense here. And then, I don't know, do we think that the second anniversary characters are going to Super EZA next year? I feel like they probably would be waiting a little bit too long if that was the case. Like, Super EZAs would potentially fall way behind, so I don't know that there's any guarantee that they're going to save Super EZAs every year just specifically for anniversaries. Probably not. But it would make a ton of sense for these guys to get their EZAs. Now, both characters need an awful lot. Gogeta doesn't have a super attack effect, and neither does Janemba. So remember, Super EZA, they're not going to get one either. So they're going to need to be built strictly from their passive. So they're going to get huge monster stats. I would assume they'll probably just give this guy guaranteed crits in some fashion, especially considering what Buhan is capable of doing in some of these characters, Legendary Super Saiyan Broly. So I would think that just giving Gogeta like guaranteed crits could be pretty fire. Obviously, it's going to need a plethora of defensive mechanics. Maybe something like Rainbow Orb changing could make a lot of sense for him, especially since he's got this buff right here. I could see them doing something like 25% attack, 25% defense, and 10% damage reduction per Rainbow Key Sphere obtained. Something along those lines. Just massively buffing it. Remember, Super EZAs, especially for these really old characters, are really difficult to predict because they need so much, and the super attack effects do not change. So he just needs so much stuff to actually drop. Now, Janemba, I mean, he's speaking my language. Just make him a defensive wall, and we are good, right? I mean, potentially having dodge, guard. I mean, they toss damage reduction onto this kid. Oh, my Lord. Could you imagine how much of a beast he would be? And, I mean, there's a lot of potential teams that this kid can go on right now, too. It's not like he doesn't have setups right now. Like, we could, LR Janemba has been a staple in a lot of teams I've run over the past couple of months. So I think that we could, again, see a very similar thing with Janemba. Definitely really looking forward to this guy. I'm looking forward to this guy's Super EZA more than Gogeta, but I've mentioned and reiterated several times how, to me, the Super EZA mechanic is most notable and impactful for villains, because we are always gonna have so many overloaded with superclass characters, but these villain slots are just so huge for villains. Then we can move on to the next one. Again, these characters, I think it's very likely that they're gonna EZA. They have decent kits kind of built in here already, so I mean they're gonna be interesting. So remember, they're kind of opposite right now, where Goku stacks attack on his 18 key, defense on his 12 key, and then Frieza is the reversed, where he stacks defense on his 18 key and then attack on his 12 key. We've seen stuff like this before with the LR Super Saiyan 4s. I think what could likely happen would be something like, maybe they would stack damn, I almost want to say 100%. Like they stack 100% right there. And then maybe I don't know, so he would stack 100% attack, 30% defense, and then right here they stack both 30% or something like that. I don't know. Cause it's, again, they kind of have the opposite type thing going with the LR Super Saiyan 4s. So I do kind of expect to see something similar like that. I bet you they might get at Goku's going to get defensive stacking right there, attack stacking right there, and then for Frieza is going to get attack stacking right there and defensive stacking right there, which already is going to help these characters a lot. Of course, they're going to need defensive mechanics. It's just how it is. Now, these characters both want to sit in slot 1. This is one reason why, it's back in the day, there was a huge, actual, argument. Full Power Frieza had a legitimate argument to being best unit in the game. The three best characters were this guy, Namek Goku, and AGL Goku. But the thing is that, like, Extreme Super Battle Road stages were kind of like the hardest content at the time. And it's like Frieza in slot 1, they super attack right away. He's dead. Whereas, like, AGL Goku would actually live, right? I remember it was so hilarious how people were kind of like clowning around with Namek Goku as global players hadn't had Red Zone yet, and they're talking about, oh, Namek Goku's so crazy, and it's like, well, actually, he's just a fish in there. And I remember they did like it was like someone did some post on the Reddit, it was calcing it, and it's like they had the characters in slot 1 in Red Zone. This shit was oh my god, dude, too funny. But if we're gonna continue to play into this right here. I mean, they got to get... Again, I think an easy way to do it is just before attacking, massive, 70% damage reduction before attacking would probably do the trick. Boom. Boom. That would be real... Now, that would be really interesting. And especially this guy, Namek Goku, getting that with this category set. There's a lot of teams he's on. Now, keep in mind, chat, do you notice one category he doesn't have? Accelerated Battle. I think the reason most Gokus are on Accelerated Battle, the reason I don't say all is because, like, Kid Goku's on Accelerated Battle, right? Is he not? Let me just double check that. Let me fact check this just to make sure. Daima Goku's on it, of course. I just gotta find, like, I guess I could just, what probably a better way to do this would be. Just Goku Youth. Off the top of my head, he is on it, but maybe I'm wrong. He is on it, yeah. Maybe it's Nimbus. I'm not really too sure. But a lot of the adult Gokus, like this guy, it's the instant transmission. Because remember, this Goku does not know instant transmission yet. Because it also is stupid, by the way. Like, I mean, yeah, they should be on Accelerated Battle. I mean, this, like when they're battling across the planet like this, like huge high-speed combat, like, yeah, man, like, they should be on Accelerated Battle, but whatever, I mean, it's not a big deal. But yeah, this guy, potentially with, like, a strong defensive mechanic and his stacking and stuff like that. By the way, right now, the 10th anniversary fights do seem like they're going to be long as shit, too. Because these bosses have got, like, we're having bosses with 200 million HP, but then, they're the 4th phase, right? So it's like, these, like, Namek Goku and Full Power Frieza stacking like crazy could be really interesting. And as of right now, I mean, both characters have got setups, right? Like, this guy would... Oh, yeah, there's that new category, Successors. Sure, man. Both characters are coming into situations where they have setups they could use. We'll see what the 10th anniversary power creep is going to look like, which characters might fall off. But remember, the 7th anniversary power creep was not really that crazy in terms of, like, what the bosses did. It was more so that all characters in the game sucked. Like, most characters did not have defensive mechanics and shit like that, right? Whereas, like, nowadays, like, they could give the bosses all this stuff, but all of our characters have defensive mechanics. Whereas you go back in time to the start of 2022, most characters didn't even have anything at all. So, that's why it's also difficult to kind of, like, emulate that, even if, they juice the bosses like crazy, right? Like, it's like bosses got, like, I don't know, like, Evolution Blue Vegeta from the Legendary Vegeta event, like, was strong, and then, like, I don't know, Red Zone Broly was just, like, twice as strong as him or some shit like that, right? I don't know, something like that. But it's like, the bosses of the 9th anniversary, like, the boss upgrades was, like, 4 times as strong as, like, Fusion Zamasu, right? But it's like, our characters had all these strong mechanics, damage reduction, dodge, guard, and then, of course, target mechanics were a thing as well. So we'll see. I have high hopes for these two, by the way. I think that these guys are going to really kick ass. Namek Goku and Full Power Frieza. I think they're going to be very dominant. And then that takes us to the Golden 2 right here. Although I say 2, but it is kind of like 4 characters and 2 units. But my expectation is that these characters right here, LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and the LR Gods, probably will be undisputed better than anything that's in the game at the current moment, is my guess. So right now, let me just pull up my last top... Well, it's top 15 LRTUR list, right? Remember, the one change I'd make to this is Gotenks and Janemba swap. That's it. I suspect that these two will be better than everything here. That's my guess. Now, that does not include probably, like LR Evolution Blue Vegeta and LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku and, the tag LR Vegito, who are going to be coming in a couple of days. Like, they'll probably be better. But all of this, I think that these two are probably going to be better than the LR Gods and LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. We'll see if leader skills are going to be increased, by the way, because remember, these are going to be the first 200% leader skill characters to be getting their EZAs, right? The LR Gods and the LR Super Saiyan 4s. I can't even begin, because of how high my expectations are, I can't even begin to think about what they might get. I don't know. Like, you look at something like Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Like, look what he does already. Look at this. I mean, what are they going to double this? 14%? They going to just make this 70%, make this 70%? Right? Like, I don't know. Make this 70%? Like, they could make this guy just silly. It's, man. And then, I think in base, I mean, if you really want to get wacko, I mean, we could just do 100% stacks on every super they do in base. Boom. Massively stack attack and defense on both. And then they're triple or quad supering, massively stacking. Could you, do you know, if they did that, you know how hard this shit is gonna hit? Like, if they up their stacking crazily, this shit it's literally like this is a win button. If they do something like that, it's gonna be so fire. This is just gonna be just stomping the game. And I think there's a very good chance we're gonna be seeing that. So let me know what you guys think. These are just, again, kind of like not soft confirmed, but EZAs that are mostly fairly obvious when looking at this screen, which again includes new characters and characters who could be EZA'd or super EZA'd for the 10th anniversary campaign. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.